In this video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to manage your MotionGenesis workspace. Most of the instructions tell you to use this MotionGenesis Start Here link. And we can do that, and it opens MotionGenesis in a terminal window. And you'll notice it created these temporary files here in our MotionGenesis folder. That's because the program itself is running from this folder. It also means that if I want to run a file, I need to type in its path relative to this current folder. So for example, I have this sample.txt file, and I can type in run sample or sample.txt. It actually doesn't matter. And so I've run the file, it did this numerical integration, and it says output is in the file sample results.1. We look over here, and indeed it created this file. And I should just point out, all of the output files that MotionGenesis creates are just text files. So I can open them with Notepad and look at the results. Since by default MotionGenesis creates these temporary files and all the output files in this main MotionGenesis directory, over time you'll realize that it can get very difficult to keep track of your files and find things when this folder gets very full of files. So a better way to arrange things is actually not to run MotionGenesis from this Start Here link, but instead to just run the main MotionGenesis terminal. And what that does is actually just start a terminal in the MotionGenesis folder. Don't worry if you're unfamiliar with how the command line or how the terminal works, because there's just a few very basic commands that we're going to use to make this work. If we look here, we see that we are currently in the folder C:/MotionGenesis, which is the same folder as what I have over here in this Explorer window. Which means that if I, for example, just type MotionGenesis.exe, then I can run MotionGenesis from here. This is basically what that Start Here link is doing, except now I'm doing it manually. You'll notice it created these temporary files just like before. And so I can type quit and get back out to the terminal window. But the advantage here is that I can change my directory into some subfolder. For example, I have this My Project folder here with a file in it. So over here in the terminal, I can type cd, which means change directory, and then go into the folder called My Project. Now you'll notice it says C:/MotionGenesis/MyProject. Now I want to run MotionGenesis from this folder, but MotionGenesis exists one directory up from here. It exists in the MotionGenesis folder. So I type .. which means go up one level, and then I type MotionGenesis.exe. And then I can just type the name of the file that I want to run. And so what this is saying is, please run MotionGenesis.exe, and as input, provide this file that I'm giving you. So if I hit enter now, it runs the file just like before, and you'll notice that it created its temporary files and the output files here in this My Project folder. So now everything that's related to this project is within this folder, and it's not cluttering up the main MotionGenesis folder. One more really important advantage of doing it this way is that if I'm editing the file, for example, to try to figure out how to make it work, then I can just very quickly type quit over here in the MotionGenesis window, and it brings me back out to the main command line, and I can just hit the up arrow to rerun the last command from the command line, which was the command to run MotionGenesis with my file. So I can just run it again, and maybe if I'm not happy with the results still, I could change one more thing, and then just run it one more time. So you can see it's very efficient to just edit my file here, save it, and then come over here and rerun it. One final thing that you might find useful is that if you're already in a project folder, if you want to change directory back up to the main MotionGenesis folder, you can type cd and then .. which just means, again, go up one level. And so you'll notice we're back to the main C:/MotionGenesis folder. I should point out that for Mac users, the commands are going to be the same, except instead of using a slash like this, we're going to use a slash in the other direction. So for example, it would be .. like that. So I really encourage you to try this, because it really makes it a lot easier to work with a variety of projects in MotionGenesis if you keep things organized and don't have all your files just dumped into one giant folder.